Welcome and good evening to our Thanksgiving-themed shows. My name is Sue Gadzinski, and I was the director this month of November. That means I picked out the shows that we're doing tonight. Our first show this evening, Home for Thanksgiving, was aired November 24th, 1950. Not an old radio show. Our story references Currier and Ives, the renowned American scene artists and lithographers. It also references the January 14th, 1840 burning or conflagration of the steamboat Lexington. This was an actual historical event which was illustrated by Currier and Ives in a lithographic print. I found a copy of the print and have it placed on the side table along with 3 other prints you can take a look at on your way out tonight. This first show is a historical fiction which also references the Civil War. It does mention Thanksgiving, but it really is a love story. Gildersleeve Thanksgiving, our second show, aired November 22nd, 1942 during World War II. So you'll hear mention of rations and ration books. The story is about a man in search of a turkey. Oh, I've said too much. With that, we'll start the show.
Remember a Hallmark card when you care enough to send the very best. Tonight from Hollywood, the Hallmark greeting cards bring you Jane Wyman in Aline Hamilton's Home to Thanksgiving on the Hallmark Playhouse. Each week, Hallmark will bring you Hollywood's greatest stars and outstanding stories chosen by one of the world's best authors, Mr. James Hilton. Who receive your cards will quickly recognize and realize that you care enough to send the very best. And now, Hallmark Playhouse presents Aline Hamilton's Home for Thanksgiving, starring Jane Wyman. Home for Thanksgiving. How beautifully Currier and Ives have helped us visualize America as it was when they were making their famous prints. Each one we look at seems to help satisfy that yearning for home we all get around the holiday. If you would like to send Currier and Ives prints to your friends this Christmas, you'll find authentic reproductions in the Hallmark Christmas Card Collection. There's another artist in the Hallmark Gallery artistry that you should see. For she has that same ability to take us back to other Christmases in other years. It's Grandma Moses. As you probably know, Grandma Moses first started painting about 14 years ago when she was 76. Since then, her paintings have become famous mostly because they recapture the tranquil days around the turn of the century. You see the mist rolling in over the familiar hills, can almost smell the tang of wood smoke cutting the crisp air, and know at once that the sturdy New Englanders have depicted this, and they are part of the heritage we're thankful for today. In addition to Christmas cards of Currier and Ives and Grandma Moses, you'll see many familiar and famous names represented in the Hallmark Christmas card collection. There's Winston Churchill, Norman Rockwell, Peter Hurt, Alex Ross, Edgar Guest, and many others. By all means, see the Hallmark collection tomorrow. There's still time to have your name imprinted on the design you select. And remember, there's a special welcome for the Christmas card with Hallmark on the back for when you care enough to send the very best. Now back to James Hilton in the second act of Home for Thanksgiving, starring Jane Wyman.
How easy it is in a moment of youthful impetuousness to cast aside the promise of a lifetime of happiness. Vicky was only 18 then, and Ross Duncan seemed to hold her in a spell.
Poor Cousin Nat. His warm heart was taking such delight in love he'd predicted for Lindsay and me. And poor Lindsay. How could I ever take back the promise I made?
Vicky, dearest, I have some wonderful news for you. Cousin Nat has given me a new contract and a raise in salary immediately to $20 a week.
So that you two children can get married right away.
Right away, but...
Oh, come, my dearest. Let's not keep Cousin Nat in suspense. Let's set the date right here and now.
Don't rush her, boy. Give her time to order all the pretty things a girl wants when she gets married. Say 3 weeks from today. How's that, Vicky, child?
Oh, no. How can I tell you, Lindsay? Cousin Nat? Please forgive me, but... Oh, I can't. I just can't.
Vicky!
I don't know what made me, but I had to come. Oh, Ross.
You love me, Vicky?
Yes, I love you.
Oh, Vicky, my own.
Oh, darling, how can you ever love me after what I've done to Lindsay?
I do. That's all I know, my darling.
Ross, you won't leave me now, will you? You won't go to Europe.
Oh, Vicky, it's only for a year or so. It's my chance, don't you see? It's my chance to do something really fine, to make you proud of your love for me.
Then take me with you. I'll go anywhere to be near you.
No, darling, it's no good. I need freedom, space, and time. I've been hedged in by Currier. Now I won't be hedged in by...
Oh, what about us?
Oh, Vicky, surely you can see that
Hedged in? By me, Ross? Why, I thought I would be a help to you once we were married. I thought that you
Look,
and I...
Vicky, don't you understand it would only destroy our love, put shackles on it? We'd be living in a false paradise, deluded by a false joy. It can bring you nothing but unhappiness.
I see. I'm sorry I came here, Ross. I think I better go now.
Vicky! Vicky! Don't leave me like this!
Goodbye, Ross. Oh, Cousin Nat. I'll never see him again.
This is only for the best. Believe me, marriage to a man like Ross Duncan would only result in misery. He's unreliable, brutally selfish.
But I loved him, Cousin Nat.
You only think so now. You're a young child. Time will take care of everything. Go back to Parsons Corner, child. Go home to Vermont, and soon, very soon, happiness will follow.
When the train left for Parsons Corner the next morning, I was on it, feeling hopelessly alone and defeated. Cousin Nat was right, for Lindsay was soon to follow, and the next year, on Vermont's Thanksgiving Day, we were married at Old Mill Farm. But the shadow cast by Ross Duncan hung over our happiness until, in the 10th year of our marriage,
Vicky, I saw Ross Duncan today.
Ross?
Yes, does that surprise you?
Well, after all this time, Lindsay, he's a stranger to me.
Is he? Is he, Vicky?
Oh, Lindsay, please forget the past.
Have you forgotten it? Have you never had doubts?
Yes, I have. But never for myself. Only when I've seen uncertainty in your eyes, Lindsay. Only then have I known what torture was in your heart.
Well, then, for my sake and for the sake of our little daughter, Natalie, and for the sake of our future together, once and for all time, the light of day must be shed on this now. Vicky, I want you to see Ross Duncan once more.
See, Ross?
Yes, you must, Vicky. You must. Don't you see it's the only thing that will save us, that will prove now and forever that we are secure? Oh, Vicky. Vicky, my dearest, am I talking like a fool?
No, Lindsay, no. I will go. I will see Ross. But believe me, it will have no effect on my heart.
Vicky, you've come.
Yes, Ross.
Oh, and you still love me. Oh, Vicky, it's been 10 years. How have I borne 10 years?
Aren't you being a little dramatic, Ross? That's all over and done with.
Not for me, Vicky. I've never forgotten you. Please, darling, I've missed you. I've missed you so desperately.
No, Ross. But I would like to hear about your work and whether you've accomplished all you've hoped for.
Well, I've never gotten around to painting those 2 or 3 works that would deliver me, so I've decided to give it up.
Give up painting? Oh, is that what finally made you come home?
No, I came home to fight for the Union.
I'm proud of you for that, Ross.
Oh, Vicky, you still love me. Admit it.
No,
Darling, don't be afraid. I won't leave you again. We've lost 10 years, but we're not going to lose another day.
But I thought you came home to fight, not to run away with me.
Oh, well, first I do have to go to Washington to arrange for my commission. I intend to hold out for a captaincy at least. Then that will take a little time, but I don't care how long it takes, so long as we're together every second of
You're
it.
as sure of yourself as ever, aren't you? But this time you're wrong. And how right Cousin Nat was. There's no kindness in you, no feeling for others. You know only what you want, and you reach out for it with ruthless hands. I'm free of you, Ross, completely free.
Vicky, listen to me.
It's no use, Ross. I'm out of your reach forever. Lindsay!
Vicky, oh, Vicky, my dearest, can you ever forgive me for putting you through such torture?
Oh, he's vile, Lindsay, loathsome and selfish. But I'm glad you made me see him. We're free, darling, completely free of any doubts.
Well, I'm certainly glad to hear it,
Cousin Nat.
though I can't say I ever had any particular doubts myself. And I have great news, children. Mark this day well. October 3rd, 1863. Today, President Lincoln has proclaimed the last Thursday of November to be a national holiday of Thanksgiving.
Well, that is good news.
What a great good man the president must be to ask the nation to give thanks to the Almighty while his own heart bleeds more than any other.
Yes, the war news is not too comforting. But you almost made me forget the real reason for my visit. Have a look at this.
Why, Cousin Nat, what is it?
I was going to keep it as a surprise to you on your 10th wedding anniversary this Thanksgiving. But now I would like your permission to issue a print of it commemorating the first National Thanksgiving Day holiday.
Our permission? But why should you? Why, Lindsay, that's Old Mill Farm.
Why, so it is, and there's Uncle Aether on the porch greeting
And there's you, Lindsay.
And there you are with Aunt Harriet, Vicky, in the doorway.
With little Natalie in her arms. Oh, Cousin Nat.
I had Judge Dewey do it just for you, but he's done it so well that I'm sure if Mr. Ives were here instead of fighting for the Union, he'd say to you, "You are much too generous to hoard anything so fine to yourself. This belongs to America."
Oh, it does, Cousin Nat. Indeed it does. It's what America is, what it always will be. A land of happy homes and happy families, with their roots deep in the soil, and their hearts ever grateful to God for the bounty he's bestowed, even in these troubled times.
If only this print will help all who see it to remember that, Vicky. Courier and Ives will have done a great service.
Oh, they will remember, Cousin Nat, for who can look at it and not hear again and again the ever cheerful words, welcome home for Thanksgiving.
James Hilton will return in a moment. Today, on Thanksgiving Day, we as a nation acknowledge our supreme dependence on Almighty God. Perhaps this year, more than ever, we should reaffirm in our minds and hearts, as well as to the rest of the world, that our democracy rests on the truth that all men are created by God and have the same dignity and value in His eyes. And so on this Thanksgiving Day, I hope you will all join me in a prayer of thanksgiving. Our Father, creator of all our humble thanks, we bring for ripening fields and golden sun, for trees and stars and rain, for home and friends and a country free, but most of all for Thee.
Thank you, Frank Goss. That was nourishing to the heart. And so also, Jane Wyman, was your performance in our special Thanksgiving Day program.
Well, it was wonderful to be here and share this holiday with you, Mr. Hilton. And I, too, thought that the Thanksgiving message was most inspiring. I'd love to have a copy of it. May I, please?
We'll see that you get it, Jane. And now, from all of us at Hallmark Playhouse, from the makers of Hallmark cards, from Frank Goss, our announcer, Jane Wyman, and from me, James Hilton, our sincere greetings to all of you at home on this day of Thanksgiving.
Remember Hallmark cards when you care enough to send the very best. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System. Now let me introduce the cast of Home for Thanksgiving. Our initially confused over love heroine was played by Judy Marsh. Vicky, as a young girl, was played by Donna Amesmeyer. The ever-idolizing and devoted husband, Lindsay, as an adult, was played by Walt Kovalik. The author, James Hilton, who chose this story for Hallmark Playhouse, was played by Andre Dixon. The fisherman who saved Vicky, the little girl, James Merritt Ives, who was to become Cousin Nat's partner, and our special effects sound man, all by Marty McNulty. The wise and in-charge boss of Currier and Ives, Cousin Nat, was played by Dave Sanchi. Lindsay as a boy, Ross Duncan, was played by Jay Summerfield. The announcer who shared the Thanksgiving prayer with you was played by Herb Thompson. Now on to our second show, Gildersleeve Thanksgiving.